up? What up? It's your boy DJ Naeem. I want to give a huge shout out. Going out to my Jersey boys, breaking down these UFC cards, baby. Let's go.
Got a little mama and she chillin' by the poolside. Fashion over drip, body done with a hair tie. Ex keep calling to that boy, he need to sit back. You don't got a bag, you can never get your chick back. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, 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 yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, 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 yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans.
Check it. When I'm in Vegas, bring the drops out. Yeah. When I'm in Miami, bring the yachts out. Water, water.
Welcome back to the Jersey Boys MMA podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ricciardi, and my right-hand man, the fight analyst, Drew. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? How we doing? Yo, I know you are, like, that fight last night, the output by Max Holloway, I mean, mind-boggling, bro. Mind-boggling.
I mean, record-setting. The nicest part about it is we took the double chance, right? I know I did. Did you bet the double chance on Max?
On FanDuel, yes. And then on MGM, I took him straight. I think I got him at, like, minus 165 or something like that.
So now that we're talking about all the books, we might as well let everybody know we just kind of started. We've been putting it together, but we have enough that we wanted to go with it. We have a bunch of sports books that we're affiliates with, and it's a link off of our webpage. So I'll put it in the show notes also if you want to check on YouTube, or you can check on our webpage. But for the most part, if you're in Jersey, and again, I apologize to we're talking to everybody here. If you're a fight fan, we're talking to you. But if you're in Jersey specifically, I mean, I have 9 sports books, apps on my cell phone right now.
Same.
You know what I mean? So we also have been reaching out to a lot of the sports books and trying to get an affiliate code, trying to get a link, trying to get a better deal for you guys and for us, because really the only way that we make money is if you support the show. So I know, we're trying to put out some sportsbook codes, links, get some affiliates. And then, Drew, let everybody know what you're working on with some merch.
All right, yeah. So soon we're actually the Jersey Boys MMA or JerseyMMA. We're going to be having some merch out. So the same thing, like you said, you'll be having a link on our website to check it out. You can check it out exclusively at www.artegentle.com. It'll be part of a collection there. I know the guy who runs that, pretty good friend of mine. And it's me, by the way. And yeah, man, I'm just excited for 2021. Shout out Madlab, of course. Use Jersey MMA, sign up, if you guys want to get your first month 40% off. And I mean, let's go, man. Let's go. UFC Fight Night 8 on Fight Island. Tonight we're talking 5 fights. I think they're really, really good, really, really interesting. One trend that I noticed, like I was telling you before, is a lot of grappler versus striker here. So me as jiu-jitsu Drew, I'm kind of excited here.
So you know what? I'm gonna give a couple quick picks to start this off before we get into that first fight that I know you're excited about. I already have a bet on where is he? On Amari Akhmedov. On the book that I was on, I took him in a parlay with another fighter who won last week. And I thought they originally were on the same card, but they moved it and they kept the bet. So they didn't, void out that bet, that part of the parlay. So I have a parlay piece on Akhmedov. And then I actually have a parlay piece on Matt Schnell also in this first fight. So I know you just talked off the air about this fight, so we'll introduce it right now. Do you have any quick picks for anybody else earlier in the card? Like, I really like Ricky Simon, but those odds are high. I like Sue Majeri, but those odds are high. And I do like Mike Davis. Mason Jones is a double champ over in Cage Warriors, but I do like Mike Davis. I've liked Mike Davis since Contender Series, man. He was a big favorite on Contender Series when he got upset, but I really like him. That should be a good fight early on.
Yeah, I if I have any quick picks, which is funny you say that, you ended with Mike Davis, it would be Mike Davis. Like, if I have to put any units on it, a lot of people like to say cappers. What's the word they say? Max bet. I'd probably max bet the hell out of Mike Davis on this one. I know Mason Jones is a threat. He's a stud, whatever. But, he's stepping up in competition right here against Mike Davis. I've been following Mike Davis since I think I saw him in a documentary for Tiger Muay Thai. He is as well-rounded as they come. So, I'm actually pretty surprised he's early on the card, but it is what it is, man. If you have to bet anywhere early or a quick pick, I'd probably go with Mike Davis. Throw some units on that one.
Well, and again, there's a reason he's early on the card, right? Because he hasn't really established himself in the UFC right now. You know what I mean? He lost to Sadiq Youssef. He had to go back to Island Fights. I believe that's where he was fighting. Came to Contender Series, lost to Sadiq Youssef. And again, Sadiq is a stud. So that there's no harm in losing to that. And then you wind up, having 2 wins in Island Fights. Then you come back, and I believe he took a short notice fight. I don't remember the specifics around it, but I believe he was short notice, and maybe Gilbert Burns had somebody fall out, and they wound up matching him up with Gilbert Burns. And he loses to Gilbert Burns' second round rear naked choke. We all know where Gilbert Burns is right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, take it for what it's worth. He has 2 losses against what I believe are 2 studs. So I think he's very, very good. He hasn't had his chance. He's had some tough matchups, and he's taken them. He hasn't shied away from these matchups either. So I like Mike Davis. I think that's a great line on Mike Davis. Maybe a parlay piece if you don't like playing it. But let's get into these fights, bro. Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell. I'll give the stats, and then you can jump off because everyone already knows where I am with Matt Schnell. Schnell is 14-5. Tyson Nam is 20-11. So again, just keep things in perspective. The guy has 11 losses. Height, Schnell has a 1-inch height advantage. This is going to be at 125 pounds. Schnell has a 2-inch reach advantage. Both orthodox. Very similar in terms of the numbers, the strikes landed. The one difference, though, is I would say specifically, I think striking volume is going to favor Schnell in this fight. I think Nam is more of the power puncher. So I think that Schnell is going to put more of a pace on him. And then again, he has the advantage on the ground. Whether it gets there or not is a different story, but he does have the advantage on the ground. So what do you think here, Drew? Now,
this is interesting when you say it, right? Because when I first heard about Matt Schnell, I hadn't watched any tape. I was just watching something that was pretty much talking about the fighters. I was trying to get a little insight on him. And I just heard a lot of grappling. And, if you look at his record, right, he has 9 wins by sub, 2 wins by KO, 3 by decision, and 1 by DQ, right? So he's heavy on the submission. So then I watch him fight, and surprisingly, he has amazing boxing. He's sharp, he's fast, he can move well on his feet. And then I'm like, all right, well, then this is different. But then what I realized is that even when he puts the pressure on his opponent and he seems to be doing well with the hands, he still tries to take it to the ground to get the finish with the sub, right? So although he is really good with the striking, when he tries to get a little bit too confident, he can get in trouble. And this is where I feel he's going to get in trouble with Tyson Nam here. Because Tyson Nam, he does have 11 losses, but guess why he has 11 losses, man? He's been in the UFC since 2006. His first pro fight was 2006. So in the UFC, he hasn't been in there that long. But with me saying that about him being a pro since 2006, is that the dude has experience. He's fought on World Series of Fighting, West Coast FC, World Series of Fighting 8-2. The dude has a wealth of experience here. He's fought Marlon Moraes. He's fought Cody Bollinger, who are studs in the UFC. And Marlon, we all know who he is right now. So, in my opinion, if this fight stays off the ground, which I know if Matt Schnell gets in trouble, it's where he's going to try to take it. I feel like Tyson Nam can sleep this guy. So if I have to go any type of way, you guys bet however you want. We're just going to give you where we lean every week. I would probably go on FanDuel, throw a couple of shekels on that double chance, and KO by points for Tyson Nam. That's where I'm going. Yo, can't hear you.
My bad. I'm muted. I'm good now. You good? You hear me?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get my headphones back on.
All right. I muted just because my son is out here, so I just muted for that. So I'm back. So I don't necessarily disagree with what you just said, because I believe that Nam does have the opportunity to win this fight by knockout, right? Like the one knock on Matt Schnell that I've heard for the last few fights is that he's chinny. He got knocked out by, I believe it was Hector Sandoval. Again, I didn't watch the fight for this tape study, but I remember from a previous fight. But he got knocked out, I believe. Sandoval may have been on bottom. I know it was on. They were on the ground. I don't remember if he was on bottom or not. And he was able to basically knock him out from a grounded position with punches on the chin. And again, Rob Font knocked him out, which, you know, he can knock a lot of people out, as we, you know, he just knocked out Marlon Moraes, which you just mentioned. So he can get finished, but he's also been finished by some pretty good fighters, and I just don't know if Tyson Nam is in that category. The other thing about this fight is, when I looked up the age, Tyson Nam is 37 years old. I didn't know he was 37 years old. I just assumed he was younger. And it's the same thing about a couple of these fighters here. Their age, I'm surprised about their age. Even Warley Alves, I believe, is only 30. I thought he was older. You know what I mean? So not knowing ages off the top of my head, I was kind of surprised with some of these. But I'm gonna go Schnell. I think he can, you know, bring the fight to the ground. He always, every time everybody gets on him for being chinny, he kind of is able to control the fight, get it to the ground, and stay out of harm's way. So that's where I'm going here. This next fight, Drew, I'll introduce it and then I'll send it back to you. I don't think we have to spend too much time on it unless one of us think that you know, Roxy's going to get another upset win, which she's capable of doing. But Roxanne Modafferi is 25-18. Vivian Araujo is 9-2. Araujo's another one. I didn't know she was 34 years old. I thought she was younger. You know, because she kind of burst on the scene a few fights ago, and she's 34. Maybe I was kind of hoping she was 28 and she'd have a little bit more longevity in the UFC. But Roxanne's going to have a 3-inch height advantage, 1-inch reach advantage. Again, she doesn't really extend on her punches, so and she doesn't have great power on the feet. So I'm not really worried about that. I think this is Araujo's fight to lose. If Roxanne is able to put her in one of those weird positions that she is able to get people into and get takedowns and things like that, she could easily win the fight. But I think this is Vivian Araujo's fight to win. So I'm going to take her by decision, just because I think Roxanne is going to make it dirty, get it down to the ground. I think Araujo will have her way on the ground, but if Roxanne is able to stay out of harm's way, I think she'll last the 3 rounds. So that's my official pick, Araujo by decision. Drew, what do you think here?
I mean, I obviously am going the same way as you. I'm just thinking maybe Vivi can probably get the KO here. So I'll probably double chance it again here. Roxanne, she's not the greatest of strikers, and if you look at her record, she has like 16 wins by decision, which just tells you everything you need to know right there. Like, she's going to get you to the ground. Although she is really good at jiu-jitsu, she's not really the type of person who uses her jiu-jitsu very much in a UFC fight. She'll use it to control, of course. She has 6 wins by sub, so that's not, you know, she has sub people in the past. But, you know, Modafferi is another person who's been at this since, like, I think 2003. So, I mean, dude, she's a pro of pros. You know what I'm saying? 25-17. She knows how to win. She knows how to fight. She knows how to do MMA. You know what I'm saying? So she could survive. But Vivi's very strong. She packs a punch. And if, like you said, you know, this is her fight to lose. So I'm probably going to leave Vivi to KO or by point. And
again, we're getting into one of those fights now where you kind of opened the podcast today. Striker versus grappler, right? Like the other day on UFC on ABC 1, which was a great card on Saturday night, they kind of matched up strikers. I think they knew if it was going to be on standard television, they want to make sure they give everybody something that they can relate to, something that they've seen before, and that's the striking. Not everybody kind of takes to the grappling, the BJJ, the wrestling, but the winner of this fight is the person who has their way, right? Villanueva is 16-11. He's a striker, and you have Marrero, who has a height advantage and a reach advantage, but he's the grappler, right? He's the BJJ specialist who wants to get this to the ground. So I'll give you some numbers, Drew, and I'll throw it to you. Villanueva is 16-11. He has been subbed 5 times, so 5 of those 11 losses have been subs. I did notice that. And Moreira is 9-4, 3-inch height advantage. All right, 3-inch reach advantage. And I believe, I just want to check the weight here, but this fight is going to be at 205. So Ike will be cutting a decent amount of weight, but he'll have the strength advantage, in my opinion. So I don't know if Moreira is going to be able to get him to the ground. That's my only concern. You know, he doesn't have the prettiest takedowns, and when he doesn't get his opponents down, his striking is exposed. And for the most part, Eric Anders knocked him out in the first round. Menefield knocked him out in the first round. So it's all or nothing. He's got to get you down to the ground to beat you like he did John Allen, or else he's not going to win this fight. So, Drew, what do you think here?
Well, let's just start off by saying this. Vinicius is on a 3-fight losing streak, and Ike is on a 2. They're both fresh in the UFC, and they haven't had 1 win. So they're both very hungry for a win. They're both pretty much back against the wall. Like I saw an interview today with Ike where he was literally in the parking lot, I think, on his break, on his shift. So he's still working at 9 to 5 right now. You know, props to him, you know, like, no saying, you got to do what you got to do. But in the same strength, right, these guys have weaknesses that have been exposed time and time again. They were successful in other promotions, but even watching like Vinicius today, I saw him in a promotion in Brazil. Bro, it looked like it was him and Ike, right? And the guy he was fighting had the same similar shape and everything. And he just caught Vinicius, and I do not know how he survived that, but he got blasted. And he has 0 head movement. His hands are, I mean, dude, I don't know. I'm no one to judge, man, but it just wasn't good. And when he got it to the ground, he was very, very dominant. That's what he looked like. You know, he was in his zone. He could do what he could do on the ground, though, because he is a grappler. But in the same strength, though, he has to get it there. And Ike is a strong dude. In his last fight, he lost by stoppage because of a nasty cut. But he was getting beat up there, too. Ike has a better shot in this fight because he's going up against a person who barely moves his head when he's striking or when he tries to strike. So the only way I see, I'll give you 2 paths to victory. The only way I see Ike winning, honestly, is by using that boxing because I think he was talking about training with either Tommy Morrison's son or somebody like that, but he has a good group behind him of and you know, a lot of boxing knowledge. And in this fight, if he keeps it on his feet and he uses that knowledge and he uses his hands, because he said it himself, he's coming in here to bang, and he's coming in here to impress Dana so he can keep his contract and possibly stay in the UFC. Because I feel like whoever loses here is probably not going to be in the UFC in the near future. So this should be fun or sloppy or whatever. But I don't know, man. This is scary. If you want to throw some extra money that you have somewhere that you don't care about, throw it on Nike, I guess, on KO.
Well, I tell you what, I think what you just said describes this fight perfect. This should be fun or sloppy or whatever. That's exactly this fight. You know, and I know you didn't plan that. It just came out, but that's exactly, now that I think about it, perfect. I tell you 2 things that I do like on this, though. I think you got a parlay piece if you want to play under 2.5 rounds. Minus 240.
You see, but here's the sneaky part about that. If Vinicius gets on the ground, right, and gets Ike down on the ground, or if Ike gets Vinicius on the ground, or vice versa, or whatever, it could be a really boring fight, like where they just hold each other down and just, you know, because Ike is a really big dude, so he might be hard to choke or whatever, and I don't see Vinicius, maybe he gets them on mount and grounds and pounds him, but, like, I don't know. Either Ike has to get it done in round 1, or he's going to gas, and this is going to get sloppy and ugly, just like you mentioned.
Well, I think what you said is exactly how the fight's going to play out, right? Like, Ike knows that. Vinicius knows that. So Vinicius knows he needs to get it down. And I think Ike may even be the better play because he needs to get the knockout before he gasses. And then when he gasses and gets taken down, he's going to get subbed. So if he doesn't get a finish and he starts gassing out, he's going to get subbed on the ground if he's a little bit tired and hasn't hurt Vinicius. Now, if he hurt him, that's a different story. But if he hurts him, he's going to wind up finishing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where my head's at with this fight. But let's get into this next fight because this is another fight that I have as a parlay piece. I had mentioned this to Waldo. I don't know if you remember this, Drew, but about a week and a half ago, Warley Alves needed a new opponent. So they put in Morner Lazaze. I think that's how you say his name. And again, he's a local guy, right? He's from he trains at Team Nogueira, Dubai. Yep. So he's locally, there. And so they added him in there. And I believe the first line that I remember seeing was like minus 130, minus 140, something like that. FanDuel had it. We saw it on FanDuel at minus 150. And that's when I told Waldo to parlay that with who did I tell him to parlay with? Somebody that fought last week.
Was it Lingo or something like that?
It may have been Lingo. I think it was Lingo, and I said Lingo and Lazaze or whatever it was. And I said, just put it. It's minus 150. It's going to go up. And I believe right now, let me just check it what the line is. But it's minus 230. Yep. So it's minus 230. I like him a lot. I think he's good
right now on FanDuel.
Is he minus 245? Yeah. So we got him at a good price on FanDuel. And again, it's if you just recognize the names and you see the changes, you can jump in on these lines early. And again, if you're in Jersey, again, we only get paid if you support the podcast. How can you do that? If you're in Jersey, sign up using one of our affiliate codes. Just about all of them, you're getting a free bet for either 50 or $100. And then, we can benefit from that also. So we do appreciate your support. And even as, you know what, Drew, even as other states, there's a bunch of states like New York, I think they just voted. They're trying to legalize gambling too, right? So as other states legalize gambling, I'm sure it's going to be the same sports books in other states. So by all means, come back and use our code. Remember that we have a page for affiliates, and we'll try to get the best deals. We'll try to get better deals. We'll try to get new books. I'm looking forward to Barstool when Barstool book comes to Jersey.
Yeah, their app is open already. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll do that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So let me introduce this fight and then we'll talk about it. Warley Alves is 14-4. He's been in the UFC forever. Morner is 10-1, and again, he's going to have a 2-inch height advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. I think early in this fight, you're going to see. I think this fight really has everything to do with Alves. How does he come out? Is he going to come out and go for broke, try to fight with this guy right from the jump? Because I think he's going to wind up gassing himself out. And Lazaze is, strikes landed. When you talk about, his offense and his defense, it's just very, very good. I think he'll stay on the feet, and I think he'll just pepper Alves for 3 rounds. So Alves probably has a good 2.5 to 4 minutes of that first round where, he better get ahead on the scorecard to at least try to win that first round. Because if he doesn't, I think rounds 2 and 3 are going to go to Munir. And if he hurts him, he could finish Alves. But again, what are you going to see from this guy? He uses all his weapons. Every weapon is at his disposal. So he'll come in with an elbow. He'll come in with knees, a lot of knees. If you go back to the fight, again, I hate when I start talking about fights. I don't have everything written down, so I gotta look this up real quick. But I think it was Al Razak, right? So Abdul Razak Al Hassan. If you go back to that fight and just look at what, Razak came into round 1 and just wanted to knock him out. So he threw the kitchen sink at him and gassed himself out for the most part. But in that kitchen sink, as he's throwing, Lazaze is coming in with knees to the ribs. He's throwing back. He attacked those legs. And that's what I'm saying about Alves here. If he doesn't come out early, Lazaze is going to wind up, disabling his legs and taking his wind out. He's not going to have anything left. This guy is pretty consistent with his striking. So that's what I see, and I think it's a great line. Drew, go ahead, brother.
No, I'm sorry. My bad. But you know where this fight is going to end up probably going, right? If Warley even stands to have a chance, straight to the ground.
He wants to go to the ground, right?
It really is his only opportunity. Let's be real here. Warley really doesn't have a chance on his feet. Yeah, he has pretty heavy hands. He's a pretty nice built guy. He looks like he can pack a punch, right? But then you watch him fight, and he's very robotic. He throws maybe 1 or 2 sweep kicks, throws a couple leg kicks. He has some strikes, but for the most part, he just takes a lot of shot. He's very durable. And then if you even get, lazy a little bit and leave your neck out over here or take him to the ground and he's favorable on the ground, like most grapplers, once they get you to the ground and they can control you, then that's where they shine. That's where you see their striking shine. Why is their striking shining? Because they can ground and pound on the ground, because they're positionally better on the ground. So Worley does have a path here to victory. I don't know if he gets it done. It's a tall mountain to climb, because he's fighting a hometown favorite in Lazzez, where in a sense it almost feels like they fed this matchup up to Lazzez, not even the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Lazzez is early in his UFC career. He's 10-1. He's literally called the sniper, and he's sharp everywhere, especially in his striking. And he's huge, and he's very hard to take down. Even against Al Hassan, when he was being taken down, the dude was stopping takedowns with his hands. He was literally in midair, and he was stopping the takedown just posting with his hand. He's a big dude. He has more reach in this fight. I think he has a 76-inch reach, and Alves has is he even in the 70s, 72 maybe? 72. So
yeah, 72.
So here, I mean, it makes sense that Lazzez is minus 245. So if you want to get a little better line, you probably take it at a double chance again, KO points, because unless Alves takes this to the ground and tries to, make this an ugly fight, grinds it out, tries to tire Lazzez so he doesn't really use all of his weapons, I don't really see it going any other way. You need Munir either by unanimous decision or KO, because Alves has been blasted before. Subbed only once, which is weird, right? He lost to a guy in Randy Brown who, he has jiu-jitsu, and he's all right, but the sub Worley Alves off his back, that line would probably be like minus 1,000 for Worley Alves to lose there, because that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And it did. So he was either lazy that night or whatever it is, but I'm sure he's going to come back hungry now. And we'll just see what it is now. I mean, Worley is a good athlete. He's Brazilian, all Brazilians come to fight, but he's going up against a sniper here who's at home in Dubai. And now that I think they have fans a little bit in Dubai watching these fights. So
Yeah, they do.
It should be very loud when Lazzez comes to fight. I mean, almost as loud as our main event.
I like Randy Brown too. If you remember, he actually fought at UFC 208. So I saw him. I don't think you were there with us, but I saw him over in Brooklyn. I referred to that more times in this podcast. That was the worst pay-per-view. I think most people would say UFC 208 was home to Randami, the worst pay-per-view in the history of the UFC. There was one finish in the card. It was Jacare, and Randy Brown fought Bilal Muhammad. And I mentioned it every 3 podcasts. I'll never forget how bad that pay-per-view was. I couldn't believe we paid for that. But yeah, that being said, let's get to this main event. I just put up here the Madlab MMA.com. We have an affiliate code, JerseyMMA, on the website. You can actually click on the link if you just want to go right to the link. But the 2 things that I would tell you, Drew just mentioned double chance, and double chance for us in Jersey means you can pick 2 paths to victory for any of these fighters. So, for example, instead of taking a fighter straight up, last week, Max Holloway, right? Max Holloway was, what was it, Drew? Minus 170. He got up to minus 170 right before the fight or something like that.
I got him at 160, and no, I got him at 165, and Lab had shot him out, I think, at like 155 or 160. Right. But yeah, I mean, we got him on early.
But that being said, I bet him double chance. So I bet him on PointsBet, which again is one of my favorite books. But PointsBet and FanDuel both have double chance. So what I did is I took Max by KO TKO or decision, and I got it at minus 120. So you can get some of these fights at better lines if you can kind of eliminate one of the paths to victory. So sometimes you may want to eliminate a submission, or you may want to eliminate the KO TKO, or if you know the fight's going to finish, you're just not sure how, you can eliminate the decision. I usually don't do that, but
that one.
yeah, I mean, depending on the fight, you get someone who just finishes and he doesn't really care how. A fighter doesn't come to mind off the top of my head, but somebody who's either going to knock you out or submit you. But the reality is, you can get better odds than that. I just don't know if any of these other books. My bookie, I don't know if they have Double Chance, but Double Chance is definitely available at FanDuel and PointsBet. So again, when betting does come to your state and the apps come to your state, those are the two books that I would recommend. Double Chance, Drew and I use it all the time. But let's get to this main event. And again, if you're in Jersey, I'm going to give you 2-part play, foolproof 2-point play. Go to the affiliate page, get one of those betting codes, open another account, and then go over to the MadlabMMA.com, code JerseyMMA, get your account for that, and just bet whatever Madlab tells you to bet.
And have a great
time. Have the free bets and just keep cashing. I mean, it's that simple. So, Drew, I'm going to let you kind of take this main event because it is another grappler, striker type event. Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny. Now, this was not the original main event, right? This was a fight on the card that when the other main event was canceled.
Yep.
They moved this into that main event slot. So they didn't want to find a new opponent for Leon Edwards, right? Leon Edwards was the one who could fight. They didn't want to find a new opponent for Leon Edwards. They wanted to keep this fight intact. So Michael Chiesa is 17-4. Neil Magny is 24-8. Magny's going to have a 2-inch height advantage. Both tall guys for 170, but he's going to have a 2-inch height advantage, 5-inch reach advantage. Chiesa's southpaw, likes to fight on the outside. Neil Magny is the one who's going to command the center of the cage and kind of go after Chiesa. The thing with Chiesa, he has a very low strike output, but he doesn't plan on striking for long, right? He plans on moving, getting on his horse, getting around the cage, trying to get you a little tired, and then pick his spot to get that takedown and submission. Now, Neil Magny in the past does look for takedowns. He averages 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. But the thing with this fight is he doesn't necessarily want to get Chiesa, give Chiesa a chance to get to the ground and do any of his magic. Now, both of these guys are 3-0 in their last 3 fights. Since Chiesa came up to this weight class, he used to fight at 155. The cut was too hard for him. Once he came up to this weight class, he's been 3-0 against Condit, Sanchez, and Rafael Dos Anjos, which he had a lot of success with takedowns. I think he had 6 takedowns in that fight. It's a good fight on paper. Chiesa and Neil Magny are very respectful of each other. This isn't the kind of fight where the two guys are going to talk shit to each other at all. Like, these guys are very respectful of the sport and their opponents. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I know, Lab would tell me, no, you don't want to listen to that narrative. Don't listen to the interviews. I was very concerned, and I think I told you this. I listened to Mike Heck's interview with Michael Chiesa, and I was very concerned with the way that Chiesa was talking about his injury and just the things going on. I actually listened to an interview and said, I think I'm going to pick Magny in this fight. And I'm still tossed up. I don't know where I'm going to go yet, but I was like, I didn't like what he was saying in that interview. So, Drew, what do you think here?
All right, just to answer that right there, what you just said, I just want to say Michael Chiesa is very smart. So who knows if what he said right there is just a tactic to get people thrown off and to have Neil Magny think that the injury is bothering him. Remember, this is a fight game, man. This isn't, it's not always straightforward. We don't really see behind the scenes. And in this fight, I think the reason why it's so interesting and the reason why it can be a main event, and it just so happened to be now, is because of the way that these two fighters are surging right now. Neil Magny has looked better than he's ever looked in the last 3 fights. Michael Chiesa in the same way. He's dominating everything. And since coming to welterweight, it looks like he also picked up a little bit of power in his strikes. So yeah, his output isn't there, but when he lands, you feel it now. He's been striking better. He's been moving better. Most grapplers do move on the outside for that same reason, like you said, to pick their spots, to pick their shots, to kind of get you tired, kind of get you moving. He's probably going to throw a lot of leg kicks, here and there to try to stop the movement of Neil Magny, because Neil Magny can move. Neil Magny can strike. Neil Magny is sharp. So this is an exciting fight. I honestly, if I have to lean any type of way, I'd probably lean for this fight to go the full way. I don't want to pick any type of fighter because I feel like they're both very durable. I don't see anyone getting put away. Maybe Michael Chiesa by Neil Magny, if Neil Magny gets the better of him. But I feel like Michael Chiesa is going to really try to get this fight to the ground and really try to grind him out, either on the cage or whatever it is. But with that being said, I don't see this fight ending early. I see this fight, maybe you can pick the total rounds over 4.5, which is where it's probably going to be. Or if you really want to pick anybody, if you really want to lean anywhere, I don't know, man. I'd probably have to go with Chiesa here.
I'll be honest with you. There's a couple different ways you can look at this. I don't know all the lines. They're not all out yet. But if you go on PointsBet, Drew, they're going to give you every half round, basically. So they'll give you over under 1.5, over under 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. You can parlay all these things too, not within the same fight, but within different fights. So we can look at those lines and see what it's at. But if there's like even money on over 3.5, I like that a lot. I don't even know what the lines would be because they're not out yet, or I haven't seen them.
Hold on.
You have seen that? Well, I'll keep talking. If you find it, let me know.
Yep. I found it here. So we have Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny to go over 2.5 at -260. So I mean,
so if you get over 3.5, then you may be getting even money.
Yep, pretty much.
Which honestly, I love that bet. You know, I wouldn't mind that bet at all. So I think that's a spot to hit. Again, Jersey people. If you're in Jersey, you can get these lines on these other books in other states. If there's not betting on the app, I mean, in Jersey, you can open your phone and just open up an app and put in a bet in. On my bookie, I don't know if they have those bets up. I know Raphael, Esparza, he hits me up every once in a while. We chat, and he's a great guy. So I don't know if he's got that line up there, but I will reach out to him. Maybe he does a lot of the lines over at my bookie. But yeah, Drew, that's what I'm looking at. I think that's a line that you can see. And again, if you're gonna do a double chance, just to kind of go full circle with this whole talk about double chance, Chiesa, you would say sub or decision. For Magny, you would say KO, TKO, or decision. Those would be the play.
Yeah. And you want to know what's funny with that? If I'm looking at the line right now for that, and this is going to be interesting. The grappler is plus money on the double chance, and Neil Magny is the favorite in double chance. So, for instance, Neil Magny right now for KO or on points is -120. For submission or on points, he's -105. So
Neil Magny is?
Yeah, Neil Magny. So people are really looking at this injury of Chiesa and really thinking that, Magny will probably strike him, knock him down, and then choke him out, or dominate him and then choke him out, or something like that. I don't see that happening because check this out. Michael Chiesa by KO or points, +270. Michael Chiesa by submission or on points, this is where I think is the best bet. By submission or on points, +145.
Yeah, but again, the issue is that line isn't far off from his just win line. You know what I mean? Like they know what they're doing. Yeah. The only line that I think is really off there is Magny by sub or points. -105. I wish I could take the opposite of that line. I do not think that's happening. But I wouldn't bet that. I would advise nobody bet Magny by submission. Well, I guess he could win by points, so I guess that's the whole thing. But the submission prop, it shouldn't be that low for the submission. So Drew, it is what it is. That's us for today. By all means, if you follow us on Twitter, you see our Twitter handles there. That's where our main account. We also have a JerseyMMA media account. I did reach out to Ring of Combat, and they are planning an event. I know I sent that to Drew earlier today. So we hope to get back on the road, get to some live events, hopefully start doing some interviews too. We want to interview a bunch of the guys from Ring of Combat in Jersey. Again, we hope to have a bigger Jersey fan base as we grow. Everybody else watching is great from around the country, but the Jersey fan base is really where we started, and we have our press credentials for the Jersey event. So, Drew, good luck. This is going to be early in the morning on Wednesday, and then maybe Wednesday night we'll be back here for a little breakdown of Conor and Dustin Poirier.
Oh yeah.
What up? It's your boy DJ Naeem. I want to give a huge shout out, going out to my Jersey boys, breaking down these UFC cards, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Got a little mama and she chillin' by the pool.